Hey guys, Crypto Sunday, and it's slightly red week. 1.5% down, about 7,000. That's a very quiet week in crypto. But yeah, looking sort of fairly interesting. We've got a fair bit of news, so let's have a look. So, two good coin shares reports in a row. We've had 1.05 billion in net flows for the week, so that's pretty good. Most of that gone into Bitcoin, of course. 1.01 billion into Bitcoin, but 35 million into Ethereum. So that has sort of seen a bit of outflow, but yeah, 35 million in for the week. The multi-asset one's down 4 million. Solana up 8 million. That's pretty good. Binance slightly down. Really been that keen on Binance coin. Litecoin up 2.8 million. Surprising. Short Bitcoin down. XRP little inflow. Cardano little outflow, and then Chainlink. I think I've found these are actually 21 shares ETFs. So yeah, interesting sort of trading all across Europe. Just looking at the countries, still Brazil. I keep looking at Brazil. I can't help it. Small inflow into Australia. Interesting. I didn't realise they had, too much in the way of ETFs. It's 86 million, but whether they're going to sort of get into it, who knows? Little outflows for Canada, a little bit for Hong Kong again. They're still not keen on the crypto ETFs. Germany, little inflow. Sweden, little outflow. Switzerland, quite a bit of inflow. So, yeah, not looking too bad. Looking at the more recent US news, we have had a full week of small inflows on a net basis. Sort of a little bit still back to coming out of grayscale, which sort of had a reasonable time of sort of inflows into grayscale, I guess, with their new product. And, a couple of weeks, a couple of days of small outflows. But, yeah, you've had 200 million plus days of outflows. But that was sort of picked back up by BlackRock. Presume this is just people, outflowing out of grayscale and putting it into BlackRock, because the numbers are sort of fairly similar and do coincide on the days. But yeah, 45 million, 48 million inflows, sort of pretty much every day. People still liking it. The US are still playing regulation tennis, though. You had the SEC regulation against banks holding crypto, basically. It's sort of that's the way it's being seen. Banks have to put it on their balance sheet, which they don't want to do. They can't just custody assets on behalf of clients. So yeah, the Senate or Congress sort of said that that should be overturned, and President Biden has vetoed that. So the SEC's rule stays in place from the looks of it. So yeah, banks are sort of left out, and for the moment, Coinbase and the like are getting all the business. Obviously, you've got the ETFs, BlackRock and Fidelity and people like that, but your Goldman Sachs's and your JP Morgans and all them with sort of hundreds of billions under management would want to get in on it as well. And at the moment, they don't seem to be able to. So, yeah, strange that they're sort of lightening up on, approving the Ethereum ETFs and that sort of thing, but still pushing through this sort of legislation, which, allows appropriate guardrails that protect customers and investors. Not quite sure how restricting sort of biggest banks in the world from holding it, as opposed to people holding it on things like Binance, is any better. But yeah, very unusual. This was a slight surprise. We've been seeing the UK for a long while, various sort of finance ministers saying they want the UK to be a crypto hub of Europe. I'm not quite sure how we're that, considering the EU have already passed their MiCA regulations, and they have, as I say, things like 21 shares. They've got Solana ETFs, they've got Tezos, Cardano ETFs, multi-asset ETFs already trading in German exchange, Amsterdam exchange, Paris exchange, and the Swiss exchange. But the UK say they have now approved, the FCA have approved these exchange traded notes. Not quite the same as an ETF, but it looks like it will be. They are the spot driven ones. It's not futures and that sort of thing. So yeah, it should be good. I haven't seen them trading on Trading 212 at least just yet. Yeah, April 2022, Rishi Sunak announced a plan to make the country a global crypto hub, not just a hub of Europe. So, not quite sure what we've done since then to warrant that. As I say, Europe are moving sort of quite a bit faster than us, and you could say faster than the US. It seems sort of fairly friendly, a little bit hit and miss. I'm not sure. Christine Lagarde, the president of the or leader of the European Central Bank, is particularly keen, aside from central bank digital currencies. But yeah, the fact that they've got sort of Solana and Cardano ETFs trading sort of, I think, for the last year or so, that sort of tells you all you need to know. Even the US, aren't quite that far yet, and their MiCA regulations, they're sort of saying are a work in progress, but they're already sort of out and I think going into sort of full force later this year. So that sort of gives people certainty at least. They might not like everything in there, but yeah, it's gives people sort of, they know where they are. So we'll see. Something that could be weighing on the Bitcoin price is the Mt. Gox distributions. We've sort of heard this year after year, but it does seem they're finally happening. The wallets are showing activity, and they do have an October 2024 deadline. This was October 2023 previously, but yeah, it's looking like they're able to do it, and sort of not a bad time for people to be getting their Bitcoin back. This is different to FTX. FTX sort of having sold pretty much everything and paying back people in cash. Mt. Gox will be paying people in kind, so giving Bitcoin back. Admittedly, they have 127,000 creditors, and they did at the time lose 850,000 Bitcoin. And it looks like they've recovered, I think it was 120, 130,000. So obviously people are going to get a fraction of what they had. But Bitcoin at the time was sort of between, $300 and $1,000. So sort of worst case scenario, people bought at $1,000 and were down slightly when they went bankrupt. They're now looking at sort of a fraction of that, but being up sort of 60x. So yeah, maybe people are up 13, 14x since they, with the fraction of what they get. It's about whether they'll want to sell that if they're now forced sort of 10-year holders. So we'll have to see. Interesting take. I think Alex Thorne from Galaxy was sort of saying Bitcoin Cash could be more of the one that gets sold because people never even bought it. They obviously held Bitcoin, and then 3 years after, 4 years after, almost when they went bankrupt, the fork happened, and so those people that held are now entitled to Bitcoin Cash 1-to-1 for whatever they held. So if you never bought it and you just get given it for free and you don't particularly like Bitcoin Cash, then I expect a lot of people will just sell the whole lot. Whereas, they're sort of thinking if you've been a holder of Bitcoin, even forced, for 10 years, then maybe people will sort of hold on to it. But yeah, there's certainly potential. I think the first sort of tranche they're thinking is 65,000 Bitcoin, which is a lot. So, even if sort of a quarter of those sell, then that's a bit of sell pressure. But at the moment, it seems we've got money still going in. So people are worried about, worried about the Mt. Gox Bitcoin and selling their Bitcoin to BlackRock and Fidelity, sort of on behalf of institutions. So I happened to see the Masari report on Bitcoin. They don't normally give away the Bitcoin one for free, so did have a bit of a look through here. The sort of some of their key metrics. These are, as I say, said last week with the Solana one, very out of date. This sort of ends in March, so it's before the halving, before sort of runes and that sort of thing. But yeah, there's some sort of interesting metrics in here. The daily active addresses down slightly, but transactions down a little bit more than that, 15% for Q1, considering sort of the price increase. That was a little surprising. Daily miner revenue up 33%, although got the halving, so yeah, that'll have come down. Spot Bitcoin ETFs, that's sort of quite a bit out of date now, of course. NFT sales volume sort of slightly down from Q4, but way up, obviously from before. This is ordinals and that sort of thing, but not runes. So yeah, inscription fees down quite a bit, but you had sort of runes and the after the halving revenue sort of pick up since then. Again, it's dropped after that, but yeah, we'll have to see the Q2 report when that comes out, if they do give that away for free. I don't think there was too much else in here. Bitcoin obviously is sort of just the store of value more than anything. You can obviously see average daily hash rate rocketing up. It's way higher since then as well. This chart sort of gives a good indication of the fees. The sort of pink level here is the amount miners are getting for fees, and the yellow is the main block reward. So you sort of seen the spikes in ordinals and that sort of thing. You'll have another spike when the Q2 report comes out for runes, and they get a little bit from that, but you really can't say it's a long-term sort of predictable revenue stream. It's more just a sort of bonus, and then when it comes in, everyone gets excited and says it's going to last forever, and it sort of peters out. But we don't know. Maybe there will sort of become more sustainable uses of fees, or sort of drivers of fees, and obviously the block reward comes down, so percentage of fees as a total will come up. So we'll have to see. There's sort of layer twos and things, various things being built on Bitcoin. And the NFT exchange volumes are still sort of relatively strong. This is only going up to March. Again, be interesting to see the Q2 numbers. But yeah, Bitcoin sort of more than Solana. Obviously, some of these ordinals are sort of very, very large in price. Sort of you see something selling for 0.08 of a Bitcoin and sort of think, oh, that's cheap. And no, obviously it's $5,000 for, basically a JPEG. I don't think there's massive sort of communities in some of these projects, and they're sort of very low volume. You can see, one sold every 3 days or something, rather than a large community with multiple sales. But maybe they'll see it as more the rare art type thing, more unique. But yeah, they've sort of been chopping around the Ethereum level sort of for a couple of months in blue. Ethereum sort of had a slightly higher month, and it's consistently above Solana. But obviously Solana's a very small market cap compared to Bitcoin. But yeah, we'll have to see if sort of what runes brings to this in the next quarter, if we get that report. So that was it, I thought, for sort of interesting metrics. There isn't too much. It's still the store of value chain, obviously. We'll have to see if more gets built on it on sort of Bitcoin layer twos. I think people are building quite a lot. Something that is interesting, though, is stable coins, which I don't sort of cover all that often. We've got Tether, obviously the biggest stable coin by a long way. And I do sort of keep an eye on when they're minting new stable coins. So sort of last 7 days, you've had nearly 300 million of new Tether issued. Sort of last month, you've had about 1.5 billion. So if there's demand for Tether, this could be people in sort of developed, less developed countries, sort of emerging markets wanting access to dollars, or it could be sort of people buying Tether with the intention to put that into other cryptos. So we don't really know, but what's good for Tether is good for the crypto market, I would say, because obviously they've got all of this pretty much backed by very high interest treasuries and cash. So 5%, 4 to 5% on $112 billion is rather a lot now, and they seem to be consistently putting a good amount of this into Bitcoin. So we've still got rates very high, and that just creates a consistent buyer of Bitcoin if they're going to carry on. So very good. I don't think USDC are doing the same. They've obviously got smaller market cap, about $32 billion at the moment, and it is sort of fluctuating. Possibly the increase in Tether has been the sort of detriment of USDC. That's about $1 billion down. But on the yearly, admittedly, since sort of bottom in November, December time, they're up about, $8 billion. So, yeah, Tether has increased and USD has increased quite a bit. But since that sort of November time, Tether is up, $27 billion. So, yeah, USDC only up 8. Tether is the big boy. And I haven't read too much about what Tether are sort of doing with their profits. That's part of sort of Circle, and yeah, they're just a little bit different to Tether. So coins for the week, there's not a huge amount of movement. Bitcoin is down 2.3%. Solana is flat, unusually. Ethereum is pretty much flat as well. Chainlink up 4.4%. That's done well. Actually, the performer for the week, only at 4%. Cardano down 1.86%. XRP down 4.2%. Gala down 0.5%. Power Ledger down 3%. Audius down 2.4%. Polygon down 3.5%. Internet Computer down 2.3%. Quant down 1.3%, Basic Attention Token down 1.8%, and VeChain down 4.2%. So nothing particularly big, nothing above 5% either way. So it's just a bit of a slow week. We could carry on with this for a little while. Who knows? We need sort of some liquidity to come into the market. But we'll have to see. We've got the ETFs for Ethereum potentially launching at some point, and we'll have to see what grayscale outflows are looking like. There's sort of 11 billion, I think, in there, and a lot of people are going to want to sell that because that's very, very expensive. And you've potentially got the Mt. Gox Bitcoin sort of coming online at some point. So, yeah, I think, accept the fact that it could be a little bit rocky, but I wouldn't be selling sort of on, non-fundamental news like that. That's just sort of price news, people selling, people buying, really. Got to look at the fundamentals, and I think everything looks good for the next year or so. So, yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and like and subscribe. See you soon.